What's up, comic fans, and it's time for that new comic book day haul plus review where we give you just a little taste of what's in each book. All right, so we're gonna get into all the books we picked up, plus we got Star Trek 50 Centers. Boldly gonna go where no man has gone before. I'm gonna do it all right after this. Welcome back. All right, let's get into it. We're gonna start off with those 50 centers. And like I said, we're gonna boldly go where no comic book person has gone before. I'm sure there's a bunch of Trekkies out there who are like, you lie. But anyway, here we go. We're gonna get into it. This is the double size, and a lot of these are from Marvel. I think all these Star Trek books were Marvel, when Marvel had the property, along with Paramount Pictures, right? So this is double-sized, fantastic first issue, Star Trek: The Early Voyages. This has Captain Pike in it. So if you're a Captain Pike fan, here you go. This was these were in the 90s, so this was 97, and this says from the pilot episode of the original series. I remember there was an Enterprise show, and then there was, but I don't remember the early voyage, Star Trek Early Voyages. I don't know. Here's another book. This is the double-sized premiere issue, Star Trek Unlimited #1. This has 2 full-length tales inside of it. From the original series and the Next Generation. Cool. This came out in 96. As you can tell, the mid-90s had an influx of Star Trek books. This is presenting for the first time ever Star Trek Starfleet Academy. This is the fantastic first issue. I think Dan Lanning? I don't know. I think there were some early up-and-coming artists that worked on these books. Don't quote me on that though. So that's pretty cool. Fantastic first issue. And then we've also got the second issue, The Woman of the Academy in a Barroom Brawl. And then we also got the third issue. Will Matt Decker's first day in Red Squad also be his last? Man, if you're a red shirt, forget about it. You got no chance. All right, and now, last but not least of the Star Trek books is Star Trek and the X-Men. Not coming to a theater near you. Way too much licensing. But yeah, I flipped through this book. It actually has some decent art in it. It's a pretty cool book. Let's see. I'll pull this one out for you guys. It's bagged and boarded, but it's a thickie too. So this was what, $3.99 back in the day? $4.95. Dang. Back cover, you got Wolverine. All right, James T. Kirk back there. What's there? Spock, Cyclops, Bishop, Jean Grey. All right. Yeah, the art. I mean, it's very reminiscent of the '90s. And I guess around the mid-90s was the 30th anniversary of Star Trek. So. Bones, McCoy, Wolverine. I know Gladiator's on one of these pages. Let's see. Where is the... No. Storm. So I haven't read this yet, but I probably will. There's that picture from the back. On the inside. I mean, there are a lot of Star Trek fans out there. Ah, there's Gladiator. So if you're a Star Trek and an X-Men fan, this might be the book for you. All right, Star Trek and the X-Men. And I found these in the 50-cent bin, so go ahead and do some digging, find yourself some cool books. All right, now let's get into the new comics that came out this week. First off, we have the Zdarsky Comic News newsletter that came out. These are usually pretty funny. Chip does a good job with these. There's there's a lot of stuff. So Chip has his picks, where he picks books that he didn't even work on, that he likes. He does an interview. This time it's with Gail Simone. There are now ads in this. There weren't ads at first, but now there's some ads in there. So I'm sure that just helps Chip print these. Got some comic trending market analysis in there. So yeah, it's a fun little read. If you can find that at your LCS, go ahead and pick that up. All right, now these are the books that I did not read this week. For starting off with the very sexy Simons Marilyn Monroe JFK cover. Wonder what's going on there. What's going on there? Next up, we have Spawn Universe. This is Rat City number 8. I have not gotten to that yet. I gotta catch up on Rat City. I also have to catch up on Spawn. I've fallen behind. But this was this cover a lot of people were talking about this week, being one of the top covers. So, Bjorn Barons does a good job. I didn't think it was better than a lot of his other work, but maybe it was a slow week for covers. I'm gonna say that. It's a cool cover. The Incredible Hulk. This is Legacy issue number 800. Issue number 9. Philip Kennedy Johnson worked on this. Nick Klein. A couple of other artists in here. You also have Greg Pak, Benjamin Percy, Roenbeck is in here. So there's a lot of other people on there. Like I keep saying, I think this is one of the better horror books, especially from the big 2. Some people would say the big 3, Image, DC, and Marvel. But definitely one of the better horror books out there. And then we have Detective Comics number 1091, part of that All-In series. Right, kind of see the Batman become a detective again, From DC, we also have Superman. He's back. Looks like Doomsday's back, and Lois Lane has superpowers. That's been happening for a couple of issues now. All right, now we're gonna get into the books we read this week. We're gonna start off with Marvel. We have West Coast Avengers number 1. This is the Francis Laniel Yu cover, I believe. I don't see his autograph on the cover. Maybe it's not. I could be lying to you. But this is definitely a variant cover. You got Ultron in the front. What I will say is this kind of does retain some of the West Coast Avengers slapstick. I was going to say slapstick, with an emphasis on the schlep. You got Jerry Dugan writing this. You might remember him from X-Men books, but he also did Deadpool. So he does have a comic sensibility. I'm not quite sure who did this cover, but I'm gonna say it's not Francis Laniel Yu. So you got me there. You got me. Yeah. So this is also tied into the new Iron Man series, right? Where Iron Man's having trouble with his suit, so he has to go back. You know, he's on the West Coast. He has to go back to a warehouse and get the Silver Centurion suit. Turns out it's not fully powered yet. So he's got to rely on Blue Bolt, who's a member of the team. They explain it all in the book. He's kind of like on a work release program, if you will, from prison, part of the West Coast Avengers. Yeah, there's some funny slapstick. He's electrically powered, so he had to, zap Iron Man back up and get his power running, and then, he goes around telling everybody like, hey, we almost died, but I managed to get Iron Man back in the game and save us all. But either way, it's a fun book. probably worth a pickup, especially if you want to find out what's happening with this new iteration of the Avengers. And if you're reading the new Iron Man series, this also ties into it loosely, but ties into it. So you'll see him in the Silver Centurion suit in the West Coast Avengers. And check out Iron Man issue number 2 came out this week for what's happening in Tony Stark's world. Issue number 1 was a little brutal. I mean, Tony's going through some stuff. All right. Next up, we got the 8 Deaths of Spider-Man. This is the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 62. This book is good. This is one of the books that gives me hope that Marvel is going to turn it around in some way or some fashion. As long as they, keep pumping out some interesting stories that we can, be drawn into, and gives us a choice as to, what characters, the characters we grew up and loved with, giving us a choice of picking up their stories and them being good. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is I'm hopeful. So you have Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom really doesn't make an appearance in this book. He is the catalyst for this book, but he's not in this is the second part, by the way. He's not in this one, but you do have Doctor Strange and you have Peter Parker, Spider-Man. All right, we're going to switch gears. We're going to DC, part of the All-In. We have Catwoman number 70. Yeah, Catwoman number 70. The Many Faces of Selena Kyle. So basically, as if you've been following Catwoman, she's got a lot of aliases, and somebody's trying to eliminate those aliases and trying to eliminate Catwoman herself, Selena Kyle. So, and it all goes back to this early gang, I guess you could say, she used to work for. And the patriarch of the gang has passed away, and so you have all the sons and the brothers and all parts of the family trying to get a piece of the action, and they know a lot of secrets, and apparently Catwoman knows way one too many secrets, or somebody knows Catwoman's secret. Either way, Catwoman is being targeted for elimination, assassination. It's a pretty good series. You'll get to see, get a little bit of the origin of Selena Kyle, or some, background info on her, and you also get to see her beat up some people, so that's cool. All right, Action Comics. This is a weekly, so this is 1076. All right, this one, Superman is on Krypton trying to escape. He actually does, with the help of these bracelets he has that gives him, powers him up with the powers of a yellow sun. He also gets to meet his dad and his uncle, and everything is not as dandy as he thought it was. There are definitely secrets there. Here we have Superman, and he's in the Phantom Zone. He escapes Krypton. So he was in the Phantom Zone. The Phantom Zone sends him back in time to a Krypton that hasn't yet exploded. It is due to explode, though. It's the same Krypton that exploded, just sent him back in time. This one he gets back. All right, there's a being called Ether, who's made the Phantom Zone in some ways tangible. He's also made it kind of implode on itself. So Superman's got to escape, get help, and this one is him trying to get out. This cover makes it seem a lot more dramatic than it really was. All right, it's a fun Superman tale. I don't think there's too much to it in terms of groundbreaking Superman storytelling or anything like that. If you want some retrospective, introspective Superman who gets to meet his parents and stuff like that, excellent book to pick up. All right, now we're on the last book. We're switching to the indies. This is last but not least. This is Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. Again, this is Jerry Dugan here with Ryan Riley Brown. This book is really good, guys. On a scale of 1 to 10, it's the ish. Check it out. That's all I'll tell you. You have a main villain, Moynihan, who's basically in control of most of the people who come in alive. A lot of them end up being former criminals, warriors, anything that would have had a weapon and fought. All right. They've been in wars, whatever. They're all hardened. There's a bunch of like zombie-like creatures. They all fight against that, but Moynihan is kind of the guy who's brought everybody together, but also like terrorizing everybody who's there. If you don't join his society, you're pretty much a dead person, or you're gonna suffer something bad. There's also the Butcher of Caledonia, who we're introduced to, new character in this book. Seems like a pretty interesting character, somebody who might give Moynihan a run for his money, and they've actually already met up. You'll find that in the book, and you'll see what kind of happens there. Then you got McGrath and Asumi, and those are the two main characters, and they're the ones who have been traveling together, a cowboy and a samurai. All right, and you know, man and woman, male cowboy, female samurai. And you know, after a while, they've kind of developed feelings for each other, and this book kind of consummates where their relationship is headed and points us in the future of what's going to happen in this book. And oh man, if this is purgatory, there's some stuff happening in here that it's like, ooh, what's going to happen? You know, how is this gonna work out? So overall, the relationships formed in this book too, whether they're friends or enemies or lovers, is actually really cool. And it's, in some ways, it's kind of poetic, but don't get me wrong, it's action-packed with some overlaying of poetry. And that's the best way I can put it. So this book definitely has some literary value, if you will. So it's not just popcorn, you know. So yeah, check it out. Falling in Love on the Path to Hell. This is issue 6. Issue 5 was cardstock. Issue 6 was tissue paper. I'm talking about the cover. But besides for that, the story inside is all right. So comic fans, that was my new comic book day haul plus review. If you like the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Go ahead and throw me a thumbs up and comment down below. Do what you do. I'm gonna do what I do. I'm gonna get ready for this upcoming week's books. All right. So yeah, thank you for being here. Hope you guys had a pleasant, wonderful, amazing Thanksgiving. And that's it. We're out. Peace. Deuces.